Hi everyone, I'm Allie and I hope you're hungry to make today's pumpkin pie earrings. We're going to be doing some brick stitch with multi-drop, creating that pie slice shape. Remember, if you do need any supplies like the Delicas, although they're in this month's treasure box, you can look below the video in the description and get links back to all of the supplies. Let's get them all gathered and get ready to get started. So to start out our pumpkin pie earrings, we are going to begin with brick stitch. We're going to be using this gold for our crust. You can also use the metallic dark bronze color. 2 more seed beads go on to the bottom of a size 8 dragon thread. And I'm going to fold those back along the first 2. I'm leaving just enough space at the end to be able to tie a knot. I'm going back through the 2 that I just added. I'm going to add 2 more. Go back through the 2 that your thread were coming out of and through the 2 new ones that you've added. Continue on adding more rows to your crust. 2 beads go on, back down through those 2 you just added. 2 more beads go on into the opposite end of the beads your thread was coming out of, back through those 2 beads. That's going to give us 5 total rows, and we're going to work our way up to 7. So I've got 2 more to go. And then after these 2, we're going to start with our cream for our piece here. All right, once you've got those 7 rows on, that is, again, the width of your earring. If you want to make this bigger, I would suggest just switching to 8/0 seed beads rather than having the small, tiny 11/0s. From here, we're going to add a row of brick stitch. So we're going to take 2 of our white 11/0 seed beads. We're going to go to the second bridge thread. There's the first. Here's the second. Going from number 5 to number 6 of our ladder stitch. You're going to go underneath that bridge thread, and then back up through bead number 2 toward bead number 1. From here, add another bead, go to your next bridge thread, go back up through your 11/0. Bead, next bridge thread underneath it, back up through the bead you just put on. And naturally, brick stitch is going to get us into this triangle shape for the piece of pie as we go along the edge here, adding in our beads. So we started out with 7 of our width when it comes to the ladder stitch, and we're going to end up with 6 of our 11/0s for that cream. From here, we are going to switch from single drop to 2 drop. That's going to get us more of the pie shape versus just a straight triangular shape. We're going to add 1, 2, 3, and 4 of our 11/0 Delica beads. And I've switched to Delicas just to make that rigid cut look of the pie. I'm going to switch over from the first bridge thread here to the second, going up and under that second bridge thread. I'm going to sew back through the Delica beads numbers 4 and 3. Now, because we are going pie shape, this will start to kind of recorrect itself, but traditionally you're going to go back then through the first bead, or in this case the first 2 beads, beads number 2 and 1, underneath the bridge thread that's underneath it, and then back up through beads 1 and 2. Now, to get in a position to add my 3rd row, I have to go back down the 2 beads that are in my second one, underneath that bridge thread, back up through those 2 beads, and then we get to add on our 3rd row. To add on our 3rd row, 2 more beads go on, go underneath the next bridge thread, back up through those 2 beads towards the top. So it's just the same as brick stitch, except this is called 2 drop or 2 bead brick stitch. Sometimes you can get through both, sometimes just one at a time. I went through one, and I'm going to go through the other, and they'll sit just like brick stitch, 1 bead stacked on top of the other. Because we had 6 in our previous row, we're going to end up with 5 in this new row. and then 4, and then 3, and so on and so forth. Going back up through, you can see I kind of turn it as I'm working on it to see whatever angle is the easiest for me to get that bead through. 2 more beads go on and underneath that bridge thread. Back up through those 2 beads to get them to sit where they should. And now I'm going to go in and do my next row of my brick stitch. Next row of my brick stitch is going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4 beads, just like the last one. Skip over bridge thread number 1 and sew underneath bridge thread number 2. Go back up through your beads number 4 and 3. And then back to row number 1 through beads number 1 and 2. At the same time, if you can go underneath that bridge thread, that's great. Back up through beads 1 and 2 to straighten that out. Down through beads 3 and 4, underneath that bridge thread. Back up through beads 3 and 4, and now you're going to add your 3rd row. Oh, got 1 too many beads on there. Underneath that bridge throw for your 3rd row. Then we're going to do a 4th row. To finish this one off. I'm going to do the same thing for a 3rd row, starting out again with 4 of my Delica beads to make that into that pumpkin-y pie shape. Listen up, beaders. This month's deal is a treasure. For a limited time, when you subscribe to the treasure box, you'll get 2 boxes for the price of 1. That's right, subscribe in November and we'll include the fabulous October box free. Get all this creativity for just $39.99. But hurry, this offer is limited to the first 50 subscribers only. Once the October boxes are gone, they're gone. So go ahead, spoil yourself, or gift a box to a fellow beader. Subscribe now at PotomacBeads.com. Together, we create. When you get down to the base, the last one here, you're on 2, your second 2 group. I'm going to add 1 11-0, and I'm going to go back down through the 2. So I did 2 beads, then 3 and 4, came back up through my second set here, and I'm going to just do 1 bead and go back down into that second row of 2. What that's going to do is lay that bead opposite, but that gets the point to my pumpkin pie. From here, we're going to go back and we're going to play a little bit with our cream for our pumpkin pie. I'm going to go back up along the piece here, going into those sets of 2 that lay along the corner. And I'm going to come up right near the end of the cream row and that whipped cream, and then right near the pumpkin. I'm going to add an 11-0 seed bead, not sewing through anything, just going back underneath those beads. What that's going to do is just pop that bead right to the front. I'm going to sew to the next bead and underneath that thread. And basically I'm treating the bead to the front almost like a bridge thread. Pick up another one and go back down through. Pick up another one after going and coming out through the next area. And you can do as many of these. You don't have to do any of them if you don't want to. I think it's kind of fun. Actually, I'll do 2 beads here. Make it look a little bit messy coming down a little bit further. There's your whipped cream that's kind of going off along the side here. Back up through my bead. Another one there. And the fun thing with this is to start thinking of things that are triangle shaped. So Santa, Rudolph, we were doing watermelon is what my daughter was like, don't do pumpkin pie, do watermelon. I was like, I'm going to do pumpkin pie for pumpkin pie season. All right, once you're at the end here and you're coming through the piece, we're going to go back up through, and I'm going to come out through my ladder stitch here. I'm going to work my thread in so that I'm coming out through that center 4th bead here. And once you're through that center 4th row, we're going to add our wire guard. Wire guard, if you've never worked with one, they are nice, and I'm going to use a little copper one here. You're going to go up through the wire guard, And then you're going to go down through the wire guard as well from the opposite side. Once you do that, you're going to go back through that same ladder stitch row. Get that starter thread out of the way. And see how that puts it just right in the middle there. I'm going to go underneath the bridge thread and once again back up through that center row of beads. And what that does by going through that center row of beads again, that's going to give me an opportunity to reinforce that wire guard or that wire guardian, depending on wire protector, wire guard, wire guardian. Back up through it one more time, wrapping around to the opposite side, and then back down through that ladder stitch. Make sure as you do a second strand, always with your wire guard, that it doesn't escape or jump out of that little U channel there. We're going to go back through our ladder stitch beads here till we get to the end. And we're simply going to tie these two thread ends together. Serving up some pie. And then I'm just going to go in, and because the green matches really well with the gold, I'm just going to burn right away down next to it and then down flat along the project. And there you have your little slice of pumpkin pie. You can go in and make a second slice of pumpkin pie. When you add your ear wires, you're just going to grab your ear wire, open it up by pulling to the side, place your pumpkin pie on your ear wire, and close it up for the pie lover in your life. Thanks so much for joining me in creating these pumpkin pie earrings. I am hungry now, I'm not gonna lie, sounds delicious. Remember, if you do need supplies, go below the video in the description and it'll link back to our website where you can see the full list of materials that you can use. In addition to that, remember those Delica beads are in this month's subscription treasure box, so you can check them out there also. If you need anything else, remember you can always visit us at PotomacBeads.com. Hit that little subscribe button and stay tuned for more inspirational designs.